Hello, I'm Rick Stivers. I'd like to welcome you to Young Martin's Reels. Today's project is going to be another one of these testing inexpensive Chinese reels to see how they hold up in the field. And this is the Handing, Handing M-1 Pro 5000. Now, I just bought this reel off of Amazon for, I think it was $45. So this isn't exactly a cheap reel. But I'd never heard of, let me say this, as of a month ago, I had never heard of this reel. But suddenly, on Facebook, every time I turned around, there was another ad showing what a great, fantastic reel the Handing M1 was. So, since I had just retired the Tsunami Citadel reel for my testing, it was time to add a new reel into the stable. So I chose this one. I needed something that I could take out on the boat and would hold up, I hope, and go out and meet the challenges. So let's take a look at this reel. Oh, by the way, it does come with an owner's manual that seems to include, let's see here, move this out of the way for a second. Seems to include, good, it has an illustrated parts breakdown. And this reel is made in China. And along with this booklet here, or fold out, whatever you want to call it, it appears that there are some instructions on actually how to use it. But I don't see anything in here about how to service this reel and maintain it. That would have been a really nice thing for them to have included, which they didn't do. So that's the first negative on it. However, the fact that they included one, which the Sugei Lang and the Citadel did not do, so that's a plus for it. All right, let's take a look at this. Let's see, I've got the handle. Okay. There's the handle off. Okay. Well, we were going to take the handle off. Let's go ahead and put the handle on. And let's back this out just a little bit. And I do like this style of handle. It's got the double thread here, which would allow you to use it on either this side or this side. So I will be using it in the conventional method. Let's screw this down and give this a quick spin. Okay. All right. Turn the anti-reverse on. Okay, it's got an instant anti-reverse. Let's see how well she flips over. Oh, that was nice. How's the drag feel? Okay, it'll be interesting to see what's in there. Okay, this thing is a not carbon fiber, but graphite. It's got a graphite body. It's substantial. There's no give, no bend in it, and skirted spool. And this is supposed to be able to be used for freshwater or saltwater. Won't be most likely be taking it down for saltwater, but I will be freshwater fishing it. So let's see how balanced it is. It's very well balanced. I like the feel of the reel. Feels nice. All right, let's go ahead and start taking it apart. We're going to go ahead and start off taking the spool off and see if this is a metal spool or a plastic spool. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Here's the handle, or the knob. That seems to be plastic, which most of them are. Okay, let's see what we have here. Let's see if this is metal. I would say yes. That's an aluminum spool. Okay, it's got a metal drag clicker in it with a spring. That's nice. It doesn't appear to have much in the way of lubrication, so we'll be lubricating that. Okay, let's take a look at the drag washers to see what we have in here for drags. Okay. All right, it's got carbon fiber drag washers. Let's zoom in a little bit. I don't need to be quite that far out. Those are pretty nice. It does have regular steel washers. I would have preferred to see stainless steel there. At least I believe those are regular steel. Let me test it with a magnet. Oh, no, they are stainless steel. How about that? They do not appear to be, but they are. All right. So that's a big plus. Stainless steel drag washers. All right. All I'm going to do is put a very tiny bit of grease on these. These came slightly greased, and I don't really think it needs any, folks. Yeah, but there is I'll tell you what, we're going to use a drop of oil instead. I want these to stay fast, and so we'll put that in there. We'll go in with this next stainless steel drag washer. Okay, we'll put 1 drop of oil, and we'll put the next one in. We will put the well, this will go in 2 different ways. That's kind of cool. Usually there's only one way those will go in. Okay, and let's see here. I did not put a drop of oil on top of that, so let's go ahead and pop that back out and get that drop of oil on there. All right, slide that in. Drop of oil, a drop of oil, and he's already got his oil. Okay, and I'm going to add a drop of oil. Now, I'm going to make this a small, very fine dollop of grease just to help keep any moisture from dropping down inside here. And that's really all I'm putting this grease in here for. Grease and oil. I don't think those drag washers need any. And let's see if we can get the pin to lock back in. There we go. All right, the clip is in. Spool is done. I'm going to come back under here. I'm going to put a drop of oil on that and get the spring, just a light coating of oil, and that'll help hopefully keep it from rusting in its old age. All right, let's move on to the next part. We're going to take the handle back off. Let's zoom this back out again. Okay. And there does not appear to be any oil in the handle. So I'm going to add a drop in there where that pivots. And I'm going to put a little right there on the threads. And I'm going to come back here and we're going to put a drop of oil inside the handle. There are 2 bearings inside this handle, 1 on each end. So it is a bearing operated knob. All right, it's got that. Okay, the next thing I want to do is take this axle shaft out. And in order to do that, there is a small clip. I don't know if you can see it, but we'll make it so that you can see it. Okay, see that small wire clip right there? Well, we've got to take that small wire clip off and remove it to get these bearings off. So I'm going to use a straight pin, I think, and see if I can get hold of that clip. And see if I can get it out of here. I'm afraid of shooting it across the room. I don't want to lose the clip. Okay, I've already got it loose. There we go. Let's take that clip off. I'm going to need to put my bigger glasses on to put that thing back on. I do not want to lose that. All right, with that off, we should be able then to remove the roller bearings. There's one, and there's a spacer. There's the second roller bearing. Okay, and now this whole thing, there we go, that lifts out. Okay, now in order to get that piece off, you've got to drive that pin out, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to do the best I can to not have to do that. So let's see if we can get by with just taking the side plate off and removing it. So we're going to start off with removing the end cap right here. Okay, I'll set that over there with the screw. All right, now we have 3 screws to remove. Okay, that does not look like it's ready to come off because it looks, oh, that would, hang on. Let's see if I can spot a screw inside here. Up inside here. I don't see one. It looks like that side plate should come off at that point right there. Let's find out. Nope. It's not. Okay, well, I know we have 2 screws here, so we should be able to pull this out some, and that'll allow us to see if there's more down inside. Let's get a micro driver out. Okay, that slides that out. I may end up having to drive that pin out and take that piece off, but I certainly don't want to. With that up, we can now access that screw, but I still don't see anything under here. Oh yeah, it is. There's more screws here. Okay, we're going to have to take that pin out, it appears. Okay. All right, so the pin doesn't appear to be tight in the hole, so maybe it will just push out quite easily. So we'll find out in a moment. It did. It slides right out. Okay, there we go. Pin is out. Now the sleeve is off. Now this piece will come off. All right, and now we can remove this nut, which appears to be about a 13, but it might be smaller. A 12, okay. And it is a reverse threaded nut. Let's back this off. Okay. Now we can take the rotor off. Okay. And now we have this cut. This is not an easy reel to take apart, folks. But it's designed this way intentionally because they were designing it to be watertight. So far, it looks pretty good. And I haven't seen, I don't know how much grease and oil is down inside of this. But I guess we will soon see. Okay, that's off. And now we can see the final screw over here that had to come out in order to take the side plate off. Yeah, they did not want this to come apart easily. Okay, that's the same as those over there. Now this side plate should come off, and it does. Let's see what we got. Okay, there we have a water seal here, rubber water seal. Can you see that? Okay, that wraps around. And we'll put that back carefully when we put it back. Okay, now this, all right, I'm going to tell you right now, this reel did not need to come apart to be serviced as many new reels do. This is very well lubricated inside. Okay, let's see what it's going to take. There we go, one screw for the axle shaft, and then we can take the main gear out. Okay, the axle shaft then pulls it straight out. The main gear will come straight out. There we go. And there's our oscillation block, which this has got the double bar, which gives it some added strength so it's not just wobbling around, and that's going to ride on the oscillation block. So this should just lift out of here, and it does. Okay, and that double rod design right there gives it the ability to have added strength. It's got this instant anti-reverse, and I could take this apart and take this spring off, but I'm not going to do that, folks. I'm going to leave that alone inside there. There is a shim washer in here. As a matter of fact, there's two of them, and those go down inside there. But this comes off, and this is your anti-reverse, your instant anti-reverse bearing, and it's down inside here. There's another. Well, you want to see it all, so let's take a look. There's the shim washer, and there's the primary shim washer, the one that goes down under. It's a little bitty one. Okay. Now, in order to take this off, you've got to hook it and unhook it from here, and that is a pain. And I don't want to lose this. And look at the size of that screw right there. I'm not real enthused about taking that screw out and losing it. I don't think my micro driver goes down that small. That's watch works kind of small. And I will go down that far when I do the annual service on this, or if it ever fails, I'll go down and take it down that part. But for now, this all seems to be well lubricated. This is very well protected, so I'm going to leave it alone inside there. And we're not going to try to take that apart for this time. And that's your instant anti-reverse override right there. And let's see, yeah, it's got one of those V-springs. Do not flip this with this cover off, because you can take a chance on losing everything. Okay, it is well greased, but I'm going to add a little more grease to it. That's your oscillation gear right there. I'm going to oil. These are not sealed bearings, they're shielded bearings. So they're not that protected against water intrusion. So I would not recommend this as a high quality saltwater reel. I would not, because it's not really sealed. There we go, put that bar in. We'll take this guy and set it back in here like that to get that pin right there. Let's go ahead and bring it up here. That'll make it easier to do. Get that to go inside the slot like so, and then get this other rod to fit back into place like that. And we're still, there we go. Net we were on. Got to get the rod to go in the hole, and it's not yet. So there we go. Now all of that is aligned, and the only thing that's going to move that up and down is if the oscillation gear rotates. And we'll go ahead and rotate it around. We're going to try to. There we go. Bring it around to the bottom, all the way down like that. Okay, with that down at the bottom, we'll be able to put the axle shaft back in. Let's take a quick look at this gear, the main gear. And it's greased. I'm going to add just a little grease to it. Like I said, there's enough grease on this. It does not need to be, if all the rest of them coming out of the factory were this well greased, it does not need it coming out into the field. But I would certainly recommend taking it apart this far after the first year. Okay, slide that back in. We're going to set the bearing back on, and I just lubricated that bearing. With the main bearing in, we can go back now and put the axle shaft back in. That's not the main bearing, it's the side bearing. Let's slide this back in, right down, and we've got to get, see this flat? This flat has to be up. Get that to slide into the oscillation block right there, like that. That done. Now we've got to put this screw back in. All right, one thing I didn't show you on this is, no, it's not a sealed bearing, but it did come with a rubber seal that fits over the bearing like that. Okay. And when you put the side case on, that'll kind of press it up against there and help seal that bearing from water intrusion. So it helps, but it's not a sealed bearing design. Yep. It come loose. It did not stay where it belonged. Let's try it again. Bearing on. Rubber seal on, or I call it rubber, but it's silicone, it appears. Okay, get that rubber seal out of the way, get it over there. And now when you set this in place, it should press down. At that point, we can go ahead and put this rubber seal back on. So like I said, it's got some seals in it that are going to help prevent water intrusion, but not to the point I think it's going to protect it from salt water. Because salt water is just a nasty, nasty thing to do to a reel. There we go. There's the water seal on. And let's go ahead, put the first screw back in. And now we've got this weird head. It's almost a pan head, but it's not. We'll put that back here in the back. I'll go ahead and screw that down. I think that's all the way down. It wasn't. There, it's better. That looks like it's all the way down and feels like it's all the way down. Okay. One screw there. One screw there. Okay. That's all in. And come back to the top. And we have a steel shim washer. I know it's steel because it's sticking to my screwdriver over here. Followed up by this one. What we're going to do is we're going to add some oil right there just to protect those against oil or water. And I'm going to put a little bit of grease on this metal plate here to protect it in the event that water comes down through there. And let's see if I've got this installed. So, yep, axle comes up and down like it's supposed to. I'm going to take it all the way out like that. I'll flip that back and forth now. Okay, all the way out, and we'll oil it, the axle shaft, since I forgot to oil it when I put it back. Okay, and let's spin that down. Okay, that oil's gone in. All right, the next thing we're looking at is going to be this cover plate here. And it goes on like this. So we got 3 screw holes, and 3 screw holes line up with the other 3 screw holes. And we'll put these 3 screws in here. All right, the next thing that's going to go on is going to be this cover. No, it's not. Nope, that goes on there. Okay, next thing that's going to go is this rotor. And there's 2 bearings in here, and I'm not going to take them apart. I'm going to go ahead and throw a shot of oil down there, though, to help protect them. And when it comes in for its first service, we'll take care of that then. I'll take those apart and show you how everything works inside there. But right now, it's all operating beautifully and doesn't show any signs of needing to be lubricated. So we're going to leave it alone. And we'll go ahead and put this rotor back on. Okay, let's put this cover back on. Okay, now we're going to put this cover on. See, this is just another water seal to help keep water out of this thing. And we should be able to line those up and get them to screw down into that cap, I hope. Oh yeah, they're starting right in. All right. Nice water seal. Not completely sealed there. Water could still get in there, but it would have a much harder time to do so. All right, next is going to go on this piece here where the pin goes through, which I thought needed to be driven out, and it does not. It just sits in. And you got to get it to go into the hole like that. Okay, with that done, we can now set the drag clicker back on like that. And on appears that it's got, oh yeah, it's got a keyway, so it's keyed. There we go. I'm going to add just a touch of grease right there. And now we'll slide on the first bearing. And I have not oiled these yet, but I'm going to right now. Oil that one. Now we'll slide on this plastic sleeve. On top of that, we'll slide on the next bearing and we'll oil it. And now comes the fun part, is trying to put this clip back on without my magnifying glasses. And let's see if we can get it to drop down easily. And really, I think that it would not affect the operation of this reel if you lost that, because the spool is going to hold that piece on, even if you lost this piece. Let me blow it up and use the camera to see if I've got it on all the way. Well, it appears that I do. Okay, see if the bearings will, oh, the bearings will not come off now, so I've got it snapped in. That's good. Let's blow this back out. And we've already lubricated that. Everything looks good under there. I really thought there was another one of those rubber seals. I wonder if that rubber seal that I put under there was actually the one that went under here, because I thought there was a rubber seal that went on top of here. Yeah. Yeah. We're pretty well taken care of. So let's go ahead and put this down and we'll see how it operates with a rubber seal, maybe possibly in the wrong spot. I'll look at the video and check and make sure. And if I'm wrong, then I'll go back and fix it. Now that's nice. Okay. I would think if there was a rubber seal on this side that didn't belong, it would be awful tight. And it's not awful tight. All right. All right, for those of you who are looking for perfect lie, this reel is not going to be for you. This, if you look, I've loaded the line on, and if you look, that's not exactly what I would call perfect. As a matter of fact, it's loading a little bit low on the spool. I don't know that taking that one single washer that's on the bottom of this one off would actually raise it up. I don't really think that one's made for that. It actually is a drag washer. So I think we'll leave it alone and see how it functions. See if it continues to end up a little odd. But we'll see if it affects the cast ability of the reel any. And see how it goes. All right. There you have the Handing M1 Pro 5000. And I'm going to be loading this up with some 15-pound line and putting it out on my boat. And we're going to give it a test. See how many big redfish it can catch. And I'll be reporting back to you next year to let you know how it turns out. I hope it doesn't end up like the, what was it, Mountain Trail or whatever it was, that Walmart reel that I bought. That one ended up on the bottom of the lake. So hopefully this one doesn't end up the same way. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Tell me what you didn't like about it. For now, that's Rick Stivers of YoungMartin'sReels, signing out.